You are listening to the Keeping It Juicy podcast.
Your main squeeze in nutrition.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can join us every Tuesday for a brand new episode.
Also, don't forget to add us on Instagram and Facebook at Keeping It Juicy Podcast. All right, welcome guys. It is episode 70, and if you guys don't know, the Rona is still around. But with that being said, we're sorry if a lot of our topics is kind of related to that, but I mean, it's nice to be
all that's out right now.
Right. It's nice to be in the know of things that are actually happening and what's true and what's not true. Mm-hmm. And this episode is basically going to touch upon the role of immunity, because we hear that being thrown around left and right. And
it's very trendy right now.
Right. And then a couple of other things that are coming out now that everyone is staying home. So definitely stay tuned for that. But before we go into the bulk of the episode, we do want to just touch upon our new nutrition in the news. And this one, this new nutrition in the news, I thought was hilarious because the title just caught me off guard.
I like it.
So the title of this article is "Larger Thighs Associated with Lower Risk of Heart Disease and Obesity."
I couldn't help but think thick thighs save lives.
That's what I was thinking. Thick thighs save lives. So I don't know. It's just funny because the article, which we'll attach in the show notes, it basically touched upon how a larger thigh circumference may be associated with lower blood pressure and a reduced risk of heart disease in people with obesity, according to a new study that was performed. So it was performed on overweight and obese Chinese men and women. I don't know why that demographic, but larger thigh circumference were associated with lower blood pressure. That doesn't mean there's a causation. That's just something that they noticed. So,
and it also doesn't mean any less risk of other diseases as well.
Right.
Like diabetes, for example. This article didn't go into that.
Right. And these findings supposedly suggest that carrying more weight on the thighs may be a marker of better heart health in Chinese obese and overweight people who are at a greater risk of heart disease. Which, I mean, it makes sense. If you go back to our episode about BMI, we talked about how the waist to hip ratio was a better predictor of health versus the actual BMI category. So,
but I think it's also important to note this study is looking at those who already fall in the obese category, not necessarily those that fall in the normal BMI category. So it's kind of saying if you do fall in the higher BMI categories, it's better to have the majority of your weight be on your lower half than in your upper half. And again, we've talked about that before, body composition and distribution and where your body fat actually is. You don't want it around your midsection and your organs, because that's where all of your, organs are. You don't want a lot of body fat around your organs. And if it's around your thighs, there's not an organ in your thighs. So
I mean, that's very true. So, I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. And plus, this looked at a different demographic. So, if you're, I mean, it may not be applicable to everybody else, but it's something important to take note of that only supports what we've already talked about.
Right. It's another study that supports the many other studies that say you don't want a lot of body fat around your midsection. More of that pear shape is more ideal.
So. And it's important to find out you can't just lose weight in a specific area too. So, but because genetics does help define that. But anyways, let us know what you think. I mean, I would hope you would agree with us, but
but everyone can have an opinion.
Right. So with that being said, let's kind of dive into our coronavirus update of now. So for me, in Southeast Texas, as of April 11th, 2020, so that is what?
A couple of days before this episode airs.
Right. So that's a Saturday before. So far we have 255 cases, so that is significantly up from last time, because last time we had around only 190. And then we have 8 deaths, which is significantly up from last week as well. So,
yeah, it continues to rise. here in San Diego as well. So as of Saturday before this episode airs, we have 1,693 cases in San Diego with 44 deaths. So it's obviously increasing, but here in San Diego, we're not really seeing like an exponential spike. It's just kind of steadily getting greater and greater. I mean, it's a good thing that it's not spiking, but it's also how long is it going to stay steady for?
It seems like both of us have not actually reached our peak, and we're still climbing in that direction, which is not only is it good, but it's also a scary thing to look at as well. Because everywhere else, not everywhere else, but some cities already seem to be already at their peak. Meanwhile, the other parts of the United States is still kind of trickling up.
Right. So, it's good it's not spiking because it's not overwhelming the healthcare system. But at the same time, how long are we just going to be doing this like coasting thing? Right. Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be 6 months? How long are we going to have to live like this? Or at least with the spike, you kind of know it's spiked and then it's coming down. But with this like steady plateau, who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
So actually, nationwide right now, we have 529,768 total cases in the United States. So that went up quite a bit. And important thing to note is that we had 31,186 recovered, but we also had 20,456 deaths. So that's a lot.
That's not a very reassuring ratio anymore.
Nope.
Very early on, I remember, people saying things like, "Oh, the flu is more deadly. The death rate of coronavirus is only like 0.1%, something like that." But look at our ratio right now in the United States. It's 3 to 2 basically. Of course, more have recovered than actually died, but that's not a good ratio.
I don't know. I guess we'll see what goes on. All I know is apparently the ratio where I live is higher than the nationwide average, which is very tricky. So I don't know. We'll see what's to come of that. So actually, in my dialysis clinic, we're talking about bringing those fast-acting tests into our clinic, and I'm not sure if they're trying to bring it to make sure everyone is tested or to test those that are suspected or not. But there's been talks of that with Fresenius, so we will see if we get that, and we'll keep you updated. Because I think it's important because a lot of deaths has come from dialysis patients, so
they're very high risk. So
yeah. I don't know. So I hope things are going okay, better than our hometowns for the rest of you guys. But, yeah. So with that being said, let's kind of go into the bulk of our episode where everyone talks about the immunity, the immune system, but what exactly is that? So we're just going to do a brief snippet. There's actually a really good article about it, which we'll attach in the show notes. But just really briefly, the immune system is a network of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to defend the body against attacks by foreign invaders. So these are primarily microbes or germs. They're tiny infection-causing organisms such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. Because the human body provides an ideal environment for many microbes, they try to break in, which is the perfect little environment for them. So it is the immune system's job to keep them out, or failing that, to seek out and destroy them. The immune system is surprisingly very complex and very amazing at it as well, especially with how they do their job. It can recognize and remember millions of different enemies. So that's really good. And it can produce secretions and cells to match up with and wipe out each and every single one of them. That's the idea behind the vaccine, FYI, for all you non-vacciners. So all immune cells begin as immature stem cells. I'm sure you guys have heard of that before, and that's in the bone marrow. they respond to different cytokines and other signals to grow into specific immune cell types, such as T cells, B cells, or phagocytes in general.
Mm-hmm. Again, that's a very brief overview of the
Mm-hmm.
immune system. If you ever took anatomy or something and learned about the immune system, it's
Right.
extremely complex.
Right.
And I think it's important to know that, you know, every time your body is confronted with an invader and it fights it off, it kind
Mm-hmm.
of remembers like the details of how to create the inflammatory response for the future.
Right. So it's
Um,
basically flexing its muscle, right?
Pretty
Muscle
much.
memory,
And you
basically.
start building it from the day you're born.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's why we all have very different immune systems, because we're all exposed to very different things
Right.
from different ages and whatnot. And we're exposed to different microbes and germs and viruses and all this
Right.
stuff, and the immune system evolves to what you're exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll dive into, can you actually boost your immune system and what does that actually mean? So boosting has become a very trendy word. Just like we've talked about before, boosting your metabolism, what does that actually mean? When people mention boosting their immune system, what they typically mean is to strengthen their immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And this means providing your body with the best chance of survival. You're strengthening all of those different um, inflammatory responses to make sure that they can fight off the invader as best as possible.
Right.
So, the immune system is precisely that. It's a system, it is not a single entity. So, for it to function well, it requires balance and harmony between many different things.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot researchers don't know about the intricacies and interconnectedness of the immune system, but there are kind of two major ways that you can boost or strengthen your immune system that it's kind of a general consensus.
Right.
Add the good stuff, avoid the bad stuff. So when we
Right.
say add the good stuff, eat your fruits, eat your veggies, and exercise. You know, that is keeping your body in the healthiest type of state. And again, I'm using healthy very
Right.
flexibly here.
Right.
And avoid the bad stuff: alcohol, smoking, drugs, excess processed foods, foods that have that contribute to inflammation, such as refined sugars and fats.
Mm-hmm.
So adding more of the good stuff and taking out more of the bad stuff is a very simple way to boost your immune system.
Yes.
And this is throwing this out there too. All of your immune cells are created by your body. Duh. And although it sounds like extremely cliche, you literally are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Your body turns the food you eat into the energy and all the stuff that makes you you. So all the food you eat in turn will create your immune system. So
Right.
make sure it's the good stuff, you know?
You know what's funny? I noticed in the news that I thought I saw that there was a increase in junk food sales, which I'm not surprised,
Quarantine snacks.
and alcohol sales. So, and then at the same time, multivitamins are being sold out too, which, I mean, that's not the best combination of things.
Right. No, that's not going to help you.
No, if anything, like I'm not saying don't buy
Right.
junk
Right.
foods or alcohol, because sometimes that's
Mm-hmm.
just what you want. But during this
Right.
time, I would really take advantage of getting more of the fruits and vegetables that are available to you and try to utilize that more so than anything,
Absolutely.
rather than just taking the multivitamins away. So,
Right. And if you didn't eat a lot of junk food before, and now all of a sudden you find yourself, you know, getting into the quarantine snacks and whatnot,
right,
that's a major change for your body, from going from maybe moderately balanced to all of a sudden not balanced. You're actually
right,
making things worse for your immune system and ability to fight off anything, whether it's the
right,
coronavirus or it's just a common cold or it's your allergies. You're just
right.
putting more stress on your body. So don't go down that route.
Right. Try your best not to. I do understand that we live in a stressful time, but that's just something to keep in mind next time we do go to a grocery store. If you find that some of the foods that you crave, that like junk foods are, I guess, not on the shelf anymore. Maybe try utilizing the produce section. I know at least with my grocery store, the produce section always has stuff there, but not so much on the shelves. So that's just something.
Personally, I've found it very hit and miss. Every the time 2 times ago I went and I couldn't find certain vegetables I wanted. Like I couldn't find bagged spinach, baby carrots, and mushrooms. And I
That was
was like,
random.
exactly. Yeah, it was really random, the things like I couldn't find.
Right.
And then the other day I went because I'm making this new recipe and I need frosting. All the frosting was sold out. And not a single can of frosting. I could not find a single can of frosting. I'm like,
time to make it from scratch.
I did.
Ooh.
I did. But I was blown away that there wasn't a single can. There was not, I needed cream cheese frosting, right? Which you can make from scratch pretty easy.
Right.
Cream cheese. But there wasn't chocolate frosting. There wasn't strawberry frosting. There wasn't funfetti frosting. There was no frosting. It's like, what is going on? So for me at least, there's just been random things that are missing.
Right. So I guess it really depends. Just try what you can when you do go to a grocery store, and really try to practice that everything in moderation. So with that being said, let's dive a little bit more into immunity. So according to Harvard Health, there are some evidence that various micronutrient deficiencies, I'm going to say, for example, deficiencies of zinc, selenium, iron, copper, folic acid, and vitamins A, B6, C, and E, after they actually alter immune responses in animals as measured in the test tube. However, the impact of the immune system changes on the health of animals is less clear, and the effect of similar deficiencies on the human immune response has yet to be actually assessed. So, like we said, fortunately, eating a balanced diet will minimize the chance of being deficient in the nutrients that we mentioned above. Of course, there are medications and disease states that may cause or disrupt the absorption of these nutrients, but we are talking about the general healthy population here. So really trying to make sure you get in those fruits and vegetables whenever you can. So,
and I think it's important. I think it's important that you mentioned deficiencies of those nutrients, because if you are not deficient and you take extra, you're not making yourself any stronger. It's only if you're deficient, you might have a problem. And if you are deficient, you probably know, because you might have some other side effects as well from that nutrient deficiency.
So it's really important to note that certain water soluble vitamins, if you take too much, you're gonna pee it out. So there's you're basically throwing money down the drain. And I'm talking about the B vitamins and vitamin C. So those are two of the standout vitamins that people like to hype themselves up over and take too much of, which you don't really necessarily need to do that either. So
it's also important to mention, a lot of people get all crazy about B12. You can store B12 in your body for like 12 years. So unless you have another, because some people are vitamin B12 deficient because there is a problem with how their body absorbs it and produces it. Not talking about those people. The general healthy population without a B12 deficiency problem, you can store it in your body for 12 years. You're likely not deficient. So just a thought there too. So let's move on to the immune system and coronavirus specifically, and nutrients that are getting a lot of concern. So like we discussed in a past episode, vitamin C has gained a ton of popularity as a potential therapy, and hospitals actually are starting to administer it. Zinc is also becoming very popular. Zinc has been shown to reduce the duration of common cold, but coronavirus, COVID-19, is not the common cold. I have heard, though, the link will be in the show notes, that some argue that, because there are a lot of coronaviruses, this is just a new one that we're facing. Some argue that all of the other coronaviruses are actually the source of other common colds. So the theory is, okay, if zinc can help the common cold, it might help with this coronavirus. Again, this is all brand new. Who knows? But zinc has been shown to fight the common cold by disrupting how the virus replicates within the host cell. That's how viruses work. That's how they take over our body, basically.
Right.
But there is absolutely no current evidence about how zinc works with COVID-19, as it is a new or novel virus. But basically, zinc and vitamin C are both generally pretty safe to take consistently. It probably wouldn't hurt. There are minimal side effects, but is it really necessary?
No.
Probably not.
I mean, we administer, no, I'm not going to say we, but my nursing home patients, we typically make sure if they have a wound, any sort of wound, we typically administer protein, vitamin C, and zinc, because all of those three components help with wound healing.
The healing process.
So that's just something to consider, but that's only for, like I said, higher risk people.
Right.
So,
right.
Like I said,
the rest of us, it's not really necessary. As long as you're eating a balanced diet and not shoveling down the quarantine snacks, your immune system is probably fine.
Right. So that's just something to keep note of. And with that being said, can we talk about this nonsense coming up on Instagram?
Sure, let's do it.
So I've been on my Dietetics Anonymous page, I kept getting sent all of this posts from several of my followers basically talking about 4-week courses of nutrition that all of a sudden is being sponsored on my page left and right. I mean, I don't remember clicking on something, but all of a sudden started just popping up. I mean, let's take, for example, one of these advertisements is from the company, or I don't know what they're called, what type of business they are. They're called Shaw Academy. So, what is this? Well, I didn't know either until I stumbled upon the sponsored ads, and apparently they offer the following. So, directly from their website, a flexible education model, practical skills, and global qualifications. Our students are positioned for jobs, entrepreneurships, career changes, and competence in the real world. So, they offer courses from photography to science to beauty to finance to design to health and wellness. I mean, I hope you're getting the gist of what's going on here. I mean, I got this from a little ad that says get a certification or a professional diploma in nutrition. So underneath the health and wellness tab, we have the following choices. We have a professional diploma in nutrition, a professional diploma in sports and exercise, a professional diploma in fitness and weight loss, and a regular diploma in child nutrition. I mean, there's nothing wrong with online diplomas. They're fine, but especially in a time like this when a lot of us already have extra time and they're trying to market this, that's where I find it problematic, because what kind of diploma is this? Is this a certification? Is this a bachelor's? Is this a master's? I doubt it's the latter two. I mean, the course
absolutely not.
The course is only 4 weeks long for only $69.99. Sometimes they'll offer it for free if you catch them at the right time, apparently. And I mean,
so I didn't tell you this, but after you said you wanted to talk about this, I went and did my own research. So I've decided that I'm going to try it and we can do a review on it and see what sort of information they are actually giving to people. So I signed up, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago before we started recording this.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's free. It's free. I'm signing up for free, and we can do a little in a month when I finish my.
Right.
I signed up for the professional diploma in fitness and weight loss. We can give some feedback on, because anyone can sign up for this.
Right.
I did not have to say that I didn't even have to say I graduated like high school or anything. So anyone could be getting this little certificate, professional diploma, or whatever they're trying to call it. Right. Anyone can get this, and that is freaking scary. It's the general public who's maybe looking for a professional to help them in X, Y, and Z, and then you have, whoever saying like, oh yeah, I have my professional diploma in nutrition. That sounds very catchy to someone who doesn't know any better. Right. To you and I, we know how much bullshit it is. Like, we just do.
And especially, go ahead.
I was just going to say, another thing is, it's a 4-week course, and when you sign up, you put the time slot that you want to attend class in. So I guess I'm gonna have classmates. I'll find out when I start on Tuesday.
Oh my god!
But
wow.
At 12. Tuesday, Thursday is at 12 o'clock. I'm going to school, and it's an hour, 2 days a week. So I'm only going to be getting 8 hours of education. You cannot learn anything in 8 hours. Like,
that's like one regular day at school for us.
It's like tipping the iceberg. Like, and I don't know if every course is like that. I don't know if, the childhood nutrition one or the professional in sports and exercise diploma is going to be the same 8 hours. I just signed up for the fitness and weight loss one because that one kind of spoke to me the most. That's where I have the most background, so I feel like I can shuffle through the bullshit a little bit better in that one. So you sign up for the time slot that you want to attend class. Apparently you can have discussions with your classmates too when you attend class, and also right when you sign up they want you to buy a workbook. The workbook was $39.95, and they wanted me to buy 2. I think it was one for fitness and one for weight loss. I'm not going to buy this stupid book. Right. So it's going to be free. I just have to make sure I cancel within a month. Otherwise you do get charged $69.99 per month after that. So I'm just interested to see what literally anybody could be learning and thinking that they're getting a good education. That's what concerns me.
Maybe they'll come in here for immunity classes. I mean, we're talking about immunity, so people are already trying to do that. I already know some of my patients are already doing that. So they're willing to look at any other sources right now to get that information, take, I guess, advantage of it if they have the correct resource, but a lot of times that they're not. So this is just something to be aware of, and obviously we'll talk about it more when you go through
when I
class.
Finish, yeah. And for those of you who don't know, I'm actually in school for my master's right now too, and that's completely online. And let me tell you, I do way more than 8 hours a month for that work. So we're like close to 8 hours every 4 days, if I'm being honest.
Oh my gosh.
But that's because it's a completely different type of education. And bachelor's programs take 4 years. Dietetic internships take, I don't know, a couple months to over a year. Master's programs takes usually 2 years. So you're not going to be learning very much in 8 hours. You're just not. Not.
And companies like to take advantage of that at this time. So something to be aware of, and we'll probably talk to you guys more about. But let us know.
Keep you posted. You should do it too.
I don't have the time.
That's right, you're essential.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm essential. Can I not be?
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting.
Right. So with that being said, let us know your thoughts, feelings about immunity. If you're noticing any sort of trend in the grocery store, if you're noticing any sort of trend online, or anything else companies are doing at this time. So yeah, definitely let us know. And with that being said, social media shout out of this week goes to Veg-Centric Dietitian, and she is a vegan foodie. She is also a pediatric dietitian, and she is a writer at Veg Out magazine. And she basically has plant-based foods and posts. Basically, has a lot of plant-based posts and pictures for those that are wanting to head in that direction or is interested a little bit more of being in that area of nutrition. So definitely check her out. We appreciate the support. We definitely notice you, and thank you.
Yes, if you want to be our next social media shout out, please like stuff, comment stuff, tag us and stuff, send us stuff you think is funny.
All the stuff.
Stuff you want us to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So with that being said,
that concludes our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you stay safe. Wash your hands.
Eat an apple. The same stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. So,
just not all the Pop-Tarts.
In moderation.
I got into trouble with the Pop-Tarts the first week of quarantine.
I haven't had Pop-Tarts in forever. I had Lucky Charms though. That was my deal. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Keeping It Juicy podcast.
Your main squeeze in nutrition.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can join us every Tuesday for a brand new episode.
Also, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Keeping It Juicy Podcast.
We'd love to hear from you, so please leave us a review.
5 stars, no less.
On whatever platform you're listening to, or send us an email at keepingitjuicypodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you have any topics you'd like for us to touch upon, shoot us an email. Until next time, don't do anything that I wouldn't do.